The damage was done so badly that we are not going to reconcile no matter what. Cody Brown didn't slam a door or throw a tantrum, not where cameras could catch him anyway. But according to insiders close to the Sister Wives set, the moment that $610,000 payout cleared, something snapped. One source described it as an emotional detonation. Cody had already sold off the family's prized Coyote Pass land for $1.5 million. That alone was headline material. But what fans didn't see until now was the storm swirling behind the scenes. And so, however, we were made accountable to God. I don't want to be accountable to this church on all their BS. The red-hot fallout from splitting over half that cash between two women who not long ago he'd accused of betrayal. And just when the dust settled, Janelle, cool as ever, allegedly turned to a producer and said one simple thing, "Karma, baby." Cue the collective gasp across TLC Nation. On paper, it looked like a generous act. Cody willingly gave both Janelle and Mary $35,000 apiece. Slicing up the Coyote Pass proceeds with what appeared to be magnanimity. So I'm going to let Mary go and do her thing, because if I am angry at her, it becomes a fight, and I needed her just to go away. For a brief, almost bizarre moment, fans wondered, had he turned a new leaf? But as the checks were cashed and the silence stretched longer, rumors began circling like vultures. Sources allege Cody didn't go nuclear because of the dollar amount alone. It was what that money represented. Decades of sacrifices, years of control, and perhaps most insultingly, his vision for that land gone. Coyote Pass wasn't just a patch of dirt in Arizona. It was supposed to be the future, the Great Brown Compound, his legacy. So why would a man who once clung so tightly to that land suddenly give away nearly 2/3 of the profit? Some believe it was a strategic PR move. Others say his hand was forced because it just took forever for her to finally realize it's been done, and over 4 years. Allegedly, Janelle had explored legal options. Rumor has it Mary had emails, texts, maybe even paperwork that could have opened up a court battle he didn't want aired. The optics of fighting two ex-wives, mothers to his children over land ownership, not great, especially with filming underway and public sympathy wearing thin. But here's the real kicker. Cody may have underestimated just how empowering that windfall would feel to the women he once tried to sideline. Janelle's calm reaction wasn't about pettiness. It was about peace. She got what she felt she was owed. Maybe not emotionally, but materially. And she didn't have to raise her voice to get it. That stung. When we bought the properties, Cody went in and sort of just put everybody's name on title, what seemed like arbitrarily. I hired a lawyer because Cody was ignoring me. Can insiders? Claimed Robin noticed. One source whispered, Robin saw it in his face. He wasn't mad at them. He was humiliated. And that's when it got even messier, because Coyote Pass wasn't just split, it was rewritten. And the story of how it all began. The land, the dream, the illusion of unity might explain why Cody's so desperate to rewrite the ending. They used to call it the Dream Compound. Coyote Pass was meant to be the final chapter. The Brown family's legacy carved into the red rock of Arizona. Cody had drawn up fantasy floor plans in his head, imagined grand entrances and private quarters, and preached unity while quietly staking 97% ownership in his name. That number alone, 97%, said everything. For years, Cody's name dominated the paperwork, the decisions, the vision, the wives. They got sketches on a whiteboard and promises in the wind. And now, years later, that same man just gave away more than $600,000 worth of that dream to two women who no longer share his home, name, or his protection. It's no wonder he allegedly blew up once the camera stopped rolling. But here's what viewers forget. And I wanted to explore options for bringing a little bit of pressure for him to perform the simple, most basic human, the decent thing, which is put our names on all the titles. Coyote Pass never really belonged to all of them equally. From the moment it was purchased, the land was a symbol of hope wrapped in control. Cody would talk about our land, but legally, it was his land. Janelle and Mary were expected to contribute to the payments, the upkeep, the fantasy, but they didn't hold the keys. And that imbalance simmered beneath the surface for years. Janelle especially was vocal about her desire to build. She even bought an RV just to stay on the property and push progress forward. And what did she get for her effort? Silence, delay, excuses. Robin, meanwhile, stayed in her rented house, secure and separate, while Cody ping-ponged between guilt and gatekeeping, so when the land finally sold, insiders say Janelle wasn't just relieved, she was vindicated. Her efforts to claim a slice of that value weren't about revenge. They were about being heard. Sources close to the family alleged that as the sale drew near, Janelle and Mary both began consulting outside legal counsel. Not with threats yet, but with quiet curiosity. Could they challenge the original ownership breakdown? Could years of family contributions, money, labor, sacrifice be translated into something tangible? And that's when the pressure began to mount. Cody, aware of how ugly it could get if family skeletons got dragged into court, allegedly started making calls. He didn't want this going public. One insider said he knew the optics would destroy him, so he folded grudgingly, but made it look gracious. Hence the payout, hence the spin. But as with all things Brown family, the surface never tells the full story. That land held memories, some warm, many bitter. And for Cody, watching it go, watching two women walk away with equal shares of what he once considered his might have cracked something deeper. Not just his pride, but the illusion that he was still in charge. And just when he thought the dust had settled, Janelle went and bought new land on her own with her name only. And you can imagine exactly how that went over. Cody once believed he could orchestrate everything. Who lived where, who got what, and who stayed quiet? But the moment Janelle staked her own claim with that land purchase, completely separate from the Coyote Pass fiasco, it sent a message louder than any confrontation ever could. She wasn't just walking away from him. She was building without him, and not just metaphorically. According to local real estate chatter, Janelle's new lot is nestled just outside Flagstaff. Close enough to remain near the kids, but far enough to send a clear signal. I'm not waiting on you anymore. I really just don't like them. I don't want to nail them. I want to be friends with them. I just don't like them. Insiders say that's when Cody's frustrations, which had been simmering, finally boiled over. Not because of the land sale, not even because of the money, but because of the power shift. For decades, he'd been the architect of every major family decision. And now, here were two women, Janelle and Mary, publicly cashing out and privately setting roots without his input. Sources whisper that after the sale closed, Cody stormed into what one crew member called a full-on monologue behind closed doors. He said they were ungrateful that he gave them too much, that Robin was the only one who actually supported him. The insider shared it was all pouring out anger, humiliation, regret, like it had been bottled for years. But that eruption didn't get him sympathy. In fact, it made things worse because right after that, Mary posted a cryptic quote about choosing peace over pretending. And then came Janelle's now iconic moment, caught by production cameras but not aired, where she reportedly sipped her coffee and quipped, "Karma, baby," in response to someone asking how she felt about the $610,000 windfall. It wasn't gloating, it was grace. But it cut deeper than any insult could have. Because to Cody, that was supposed to be his victory lap, his redemption arc, not a cautionary tale. And through all this, Robin was watching. According to one family confidant, she tried to be the peacemaker behind the scenes, telling Cody to let go of the money and focus on what we still have. But even she couldn't mask the worry. With the land gone, the family legacy she'd envisioned, The sprawling brown estate where her children could raise their children was nothing more than a pipe dream. She thought they'd build there, the source said. Now there's nothing left to build on. And yet there's more. Because what nobody saw coming was just how far Cody might be willing to go to get control back. Allegedly, he's been exploring ways to reopen old financial claims, trying to account for losses linked to the land's original purchase. But the more he digs, the more receipts start turning up. And let's just say some of those numbers don't exactly add up. Those receipts, they're already being whispered about in back channels. Because while Cody may want to recoup his so-called losses, what's trickling out now could flip the script entirely. Sources close to the family say that when the original Coyote Pass purchase happened, it wasn't just Cody's money on the table. Janelle allegedly funneled in funds from her own accounts. Mary reportedly dipped into her savings. She didn't say much at the time, but Christine made sure to keep her receipts, just in case. Because deep down, she knew that if Cody ever tried to get clever, she'd need to be ready. And now, he's allegedly stalking around Flagstaff, with a calculator in one hand and a grudge in the other. Those quiet records Christine tucked away. They might just become her shield, or her sword. Because if even half the whispers are true, the myth of Cody Brown as the family's benevolent financier starts to collapse and fast. Meanwhile, Mary has stayed mostly quiet in public, but her tone has shifted dramatically. That tentative half-in, half-out energy is gone. She's traveling more, posting with purpose, and dropping quotes so sharp fans are decoding them like clues. Her latest? Chilling line about returning to yourself after decades of being erased. Coincidence? Not in this family. Here, timing is never just timing. And while Mary hasn't sat down for any tell-all interviews, yet sources say she's been in regular contact with both Christine and Janelle. That group chat. Let's just say it's not all baby pictures and brunch. These women are planning something. As for Cody, he's reportedly losing it. On set, behind the scenes, in front of the crew. One insider claimed he's snapping at producers, pushing back on storylines and demanding entire topics be cut from filming. He feels ganged up on, the source said. He's losing control of the narrative and he knows it. And that losing the narrative is what's eating him alive. For years, Cody handcrafted the family's public image. But now, with Janelle quietly keeping financial receipts, Mary reclaiming her voice, and Christine lurking like a strategic hawk in the background, that image is cracking, and the cracks are spreading fast. And then there's Robin. Oh, Robin, behind closed doors, insiders say she did not take the Coyote Pass fallout well. Publicly, she smiled, stoic, supportive, but privately, she was blindsided. The moment she realized over $600,000 had vanished, not into a family legacy, not into building something for the kids, but into payouts for the very women who walked away. Something reportedly snapped. She thought they'd go over everything together, one insider claimed. But Cody made the deal before she even knew the details. By the time Robin saw the numbers, the ink was already dry. And that tension, it didn't stay locked inside their luxury Flagstaff home. According to a production source, Cody and Robin were caught on a hot mic during a break in filming arguing about the money, whether Cody had been manipulated, or if he'd just handed over the cash to play hero. The quote that leaked, "We needed that money for our future, not their fresh starts." And that one line has set off a firestorm. Because if Robin feels betrayed, really betrayed, what happens to her loyalty, her influence, grip on Cody's already crumbling image? Meanwhile, TLC is allegedly salivating. With the land gone, alliances shifting, and money now at the center of it, all producers know they've struck gold. One crew member reportedly called it succession. But with prairie skirts and watching it all unfold is Christine. She may have walked away from Coyote Pass with nothing in her name, but she left with something more valuable than any deed or payout: freedom, a new home, a new husband, a life untouched by the Brown family's financial chaos. Sources say both Mary and Janelle are turning to her now. One insider even claimed the three women have joked about writing a book together. Not a tele-lead, but something far more dangerous, a reckoning. And this time, it's Cody who should be worried. Think of it like a survival manual, not in ink, but in experience. How to leave, how to rebuild, how to take your name back after it's been buried beneath someone else's legacy. And while Cody stews in resentment and Robin quietly unravels. The public tide is shifting fast.